Yo, what it is Mrs. Zoo Nation coming at you with a top 5. Before I get this started, I would like to say that I think it was BS for me to just ramble and ramble, rant, and all you get to do is look at a black screen. So guess what? I'm playing gameplay now on all of my videos as far as discussions and rants and top 5s and whatnot goes. So now you get to hear me ramble, rant, and be bad at video games. Huh? Nah. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you my first top 5, which is my top 5 favorite ride chains of all time. Now, even though I would love to see ride chains like make a major comeback, which in a way the format that it is right now it probably could, but I highly doubt it because let's just say that it's too much to invest into a ride chain deck where you're not really guaranteed to win just alone by riding over another unit. I mean, it's bad enough that you sometimes get great lock, but it's even worse when you don't ride the right units. Pause. Now, in this list is usually based on effects, design, and everything in that particular nature, as well as a possibility of even playing in the current format. So, let's do this. Coming at number 5 is Spectral Duke Dragon. He is a gold paladin unit with the ability, in a limit break, with the ability of Counterblast 2, choose 3 of your gold paladin rear guards and retire them. At the beginning of the close step of the battle that this unit attacked the vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, stand this unit and his unit loses twin drive until the end of the turn. Now the thing I like about this unit is it was one of the units back in the day, one of the very few units back in the day that actually had a restanding the vanguard type ability, which pretty much made the ride chain actually workable if you really think about it. You had to sacrifice 3 units in Counterblast 2, which back in the day, Counterblasting 2 was like a huge cost, but I guess in today's standards, as long as you're in stride, Counterblast 1 is like, as long as you're in stride, you already gave up a grade 3 or whatever cards in your hand to stride, and as long as you meet the conditions, you can make the effect as broken as possible. But in this case, you had to Counterblast 2, you had to be in limit break, and you had to perfect the ride chain in order for this effect to even work. So yeah, that's a lot of cost. I'm not gonna lie. That's a hell of a lot of cost. But it's worth it. Now, do I think this unit could probably get play? Maybe. With all the new shit that we have now, it's a possibility, but I highly doubt at any given time you'll actually see somebody play this. I might give it a try, I'm not too sure. It'll be something interesting to fuck around with. So, coming at number 4 is, oh my god, Goddess of the Full Moon Tsukiyomi. Love it. I will admit, I'm a diehard Misaki fan. Misaki was actually one of my favorite characters when it came to the game. But even though she was kind of fucking up with this deck, even though this deck has, I can't really say it doesn't have little to offer, it's just very hard to pull off. And even when you do pull it off, you don't really get much in return. But you gotta admit, The design is actually pretty well, I can't say it's flawless, but it's pretty it looks adorable. You cannot be mad at that. It looks so adorable. And even though like the effect isn't that much, I mean the stride is actually kind of worth it a little bit if you think about it. Um, all the effect is pretty much you have to have everything that goes with the ride chain, or else you lose -2. And all you do is counterblast 2, and if the number of Oracle Think Tank units in your soul is 6 or more, draw 2 cards, choose a card from your hand, and put it into your soul. It is one of the first not break rides. It is one of the first ride chains to the game, and it will be kind of messed up not to put this on the list. I mean, it is pretty much one of the most iconic of all ride chains. Matter of fact, if you got all the ride chains from every single clan together and they had to choose one leader, it will be Tsukiyomi. No matter how good the other ride chains are, it has to be Tsukiyomi. Plus, it just looks so adorable. That kind of sounds a little creepy coming from my end, but let's move on. At number 3, Cosmo Hilo how the hell you say it? Erojodale? Erojodale? I'm gonna say Erojodale. I think Erojodale, it sounds interesting. It sounds a little bit interesting. I think it sounds close to right. Right now, I'm just butchering it. So, it has an interesting effect. It's Counterblast 2, and choose a card named Cosmo Healer Rajadale from your hand and discard it. When his unit attack hits a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose a card from your damage zone and heal it. Now, first, outside of the badass artwork, you gotta admit, that is a pretty decent effect for back in the day Angel Feathers unit. Now, it may not be up to par to what Angel Feathers has become, but it is, again, an interesting unit. I do hope that in GBTO7, excuse me, that they actually do kind of put more support for this unit, because I will admit, this unit in the Mega Blast, which I forgot the name of the unit at the moment, such a huge waste. I'm not gonna lie. They have very good effects, and it's such a huge waste because of, for one, the cost, and for two, of how hard it is to pull the effects off. Now, if they do decide to put more, if they actually do decide to make some type of support for this thing in G Booster Set 7, I probably will think about actually picking it up. I'm not gonna lie. Not for like main deck purposes, but just to just to fuck around a little bit. But I will admit, it is a pretty decent effect, and the Mega Blast is even pretty good too. I mean, it was a attack. It was a hit declaration type attack. I mean, not declaration attack. It was a hit confirm type attack, but you got to recover stuff from your damage zone up to the number of rear guards that you control, which is pretty interesting in my opinion. I guess that is it for this particular unit. Coming in at number 2 is Evil Armor General Giraffa, or Greffa. I'm gonna go with Greffa. I'm butchering that too. Evil Armor General Greffa. Pretty much, in my opinion, one of the best designs Meikani's came up with, and pretty much one of the most interesting effects that Meikani's came up with. You counterblast you and choose 2 of your Mega Colony units and retire them. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to 2 of your opponent's Great One or less rear guards and retire them. Now, And I think at this point, this is the only Vanguard. I mean, the only unit in Mega Colony that can actually retire, which is pretty interesting. All these Mega Colony effects, it got stun this, stun that. If all units are at rest, gain this much attack power. But oh no, this dude out of nowhere comes up with a retiring effect. Now, I will admit the cost is very high for a card like this. That's one of the major setbacks that I hate about this card is the cost is too high. You have to counterblast 2 and retire 2 of your units. Just to retire your opponent's units, and the units that you retire your opponent's units with cannot even be grade 2s. It cannot be grade 3s, it can only be grade 1s or 0s, which in my opinion is a bad trade. But the reason why this is at number 2 is because even though it's a bad trade, you gotta admit it is one of the most interesting effects that Mega Colony had to offer, especially back in the day. Now, I'm kind of pissed that in Fighters Collection, the Winter Fighters Collection of 2015, that they finally came out with a stride for this unit, but it's stupid because the effect like has little to nothing to do with the unit for one, and two, they butchered it up to the point where it's really no point of really playing it. I mean, it has a pretty decent effect. You get to give 5,000 for for each of your units with Giraffe in his name, but it fucked up because the other great one that came in the thing is not named Giraffe. The stride itself is not Giraffe, and if one, all it does is take is one of your opponent's units that stand, then you don't get the power boost or the effects at all, which is too much of a minus, and it just pisses me off. Not just as a Mega Colony player, but as like a Vanguard player in general, it just pisses me off. Oh, honorable mentions to this is Military Dragon Raptor Colonel. I think it's a pretty interesting Tachikaze unit. Amber Dragon Eclipse. I do like the whole play on the whole day, night, dusk eclipse thing that Kakuro did. And even though this didn't see that much play in the anime, it was a pretty interesting unit to see in action in the anime when it was out. Covert Demonic Dragon Magatsu Storm. I am butchering the fuck out of that. This was actually a pretty decent one as well. Thundering Ripple Janavarus or Janav. I'm butchering so many names right now. It's ridiculous. Even back in the day, man, Ripples are just fucking it up. Warrior Star Coral Bermuda Triangle unit, pretty interesting. And last but not least, Stern Block Cougar. You just gotta give so much credit for Nova Grapplers because they do so much for so little, and it's just interesting to look at their units. Not to mention it is an interesting clan to play in general. Sacrificing all that defense for offense is just the most weirdest tactic that you can play in a card game and still dominate, actually. Pretty good. For my number one pick is Galactic Beast Zeal. Absolutely the only thing that I like about Dimension Police is Zeal. It is my number one pick because the Zeal subclan is pretty much has one of the most interesting trade-offs that the game has to offer. Not just Dimension Police, but the game itself. The whole point of the whole subclan is to minus your opponent's Vanguard attack just so you can get in easier attacks with yours. Now, first, I will admit, apparently too fond of design, even though the SP looks amazing. But you gotta admit, this is pretty much one of the most douchiest bag of all effects that Vanguard could come up with. Oh, I get to minus your attack so many times, so you have to waste more hand while I just attack at a normal state. I was so glad when they came out with Generation Stride and they came out with a Legion version of it, which made it even worse because now you have, damn, what's the name of that one unit? That dude is so beast. It's a grade 1, and what happens is you have a rear guard. You can let's say you misride one of them. You can you can put one of your rear guards into the soul and search up for a Zeal unit with the exact same grade as that unit and call it into the Vanguard, yeah, and superiorize it. And at the same time, you can choose a unit that has the exact same grade and put it into your rear guard circle. And no, there's even fucking more. That is the stupidest thing ever. There's even more. And you get to minus your opponent's Vanguard units at 3. Dude, there is so much to this unit that is retarded. Now, one of the most douchiest bad combos I came up with was running one of the brake rides. I can't think of the name at the moment, but once you brake ride, the effect activates in your opponent's Vanguard minus his 5k, which isn't a Zeal unit, unfortunately. However, you play the brake ride first, and then you use the grade 1 that I was talking about. You pretty much use this effect, ride over with a Zeal unit, and then they minus not only 5k, they minus an extra 3k. And then since you're riding over it with the Legion, you pretty much do the whole Legion brake ride and then use Galactic Beast Zeal's effect to even minus even more to the point where they're negative. The only thing I'm very pissed at is that Super Dark Superhuman isn't a Zeal unit, but it is a similar effect where once he rides, you get to also put a unit from your rear guard circle and put it into the soul, and all your opponent's front rear guards minus that much attack. So if you got like one that was like 11k, then pretty much all of your opponent's front row Vanguard and rear guards are minus 11k. Pretty fucking broken. I'm not gonna lie. Stupidly broken. So, that is the end of my top 5. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I've been stuttering a lot, but what is everybody's favorite ride chain? Did I miss any ride chains that should have been mentioned? Did I get all the points right? Do you think this list was good? What is your version of the list? Leave it down in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe. I am Mrs. Zoo Nation, signing out.